Welcome to another episode of 100 Yards Football Sports Talk Radio. I'm your host and producer this afternoon, Logan Landers. And joining me to talk about the 2024 NFL Draft prospect, running back out of Michigan, Blake Corum. As always, Mr. Football, Vincent Turner. How you doing, Vincent?
Hey, how you doing today, Mr. Logan Landers?
I am doing good, sir. Doing good. Ready to talk about this exciting prospect here on the screen. But before we get into it, though, if you enjoyed the episode, give us a like, follow, share, and subscribe on Facebook and YouTube. Also, go and check us out on our podcast, thanks to the fine folks at the Believe Podcast Network. Vincent, let's get right into this one, man. I'm excited to talk about this guy, Blake Corum, running back out of Michigan. And when you look at him, you can tell that he was the catalyst for the Michigan Wolverines team that just won the national championship. And if I had to describe him in a couple of words, Vincent, usually you use this term in basketball, but I got to use it for football with this guy. And that is a stat sheet stuffer.
Yes,
I mean,
sir.
if you look at this guy, the amount of yards, touchdowns, everything, rushing attempts that he's put up over his years at Michigan, they've been impressive. And he is just done tremendous work there. Obviously, if you look at the stats, they speak for themselves. 2021 was his kind of coming of age when he got some work. 144 carries, just under 1,000 yards, 6.6 average per carry. He got 11 touchdowns on the ground. All right, some good work there. 2022. All right, how are we going to up that one there, Vincent? 247 carries, gets the ball over 100 more times, 1,463 yards, 5.9 average, mind you, and 18 touchdowns. And just when you think it couldn't get any more impressive, this past year, 2023, ran the ball 258 times, absolute workhorse, 1,245 yards on the ground, a 4.8 average, saw a dip there. However, he got 27 rushing touchdowns. 27.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, unstoppable to feel like at times. You see this guy put in work. And also, Vincent, he puts in work against some of the best teams in the nation. I mean, throughout his tenure with Michigan, you saw him in the national championship game against Washington. 21 carries, 134, 2 touchdowns in that one. Against Alabama, had 1 touchdown, 83 yards, and a really tough rushing defense there. And I was looking at his stats earlier, Vincent. All in 2023, as I mentioned, he had 27 rushing touchdowns, scored at least 1 rushing touchdown in every single game. And if you go back to 2022, there's only 1 game in which he didn't get a touchdown. That was against Ohio State, against a game he only had 2 carries on. But other than that, he had touchdowns in every game in 2022, except for that one, and in 2023. It's hard to put in the words, right? And we're here breaking this guy down, just how dominant that he was at Michigan. He's got great speed. I'm excited to see what he's going to run in the 40. But when you see this guy, when you see what he is all about, obviously the stats are super impressive, no doubt about that. But Vincent, he's also a lean guy too. He's got some muscle. You can see his arms. He's got some strength to him as well. He's not just a guy who's got speed. He's got some good feel for the game as well. He can find those holes with pinpoint accuracy, get through those tight spaces that you need. I mean, you can put him in whichever zone you want, power zone, a power scheme, a zone scheme, whichever running zone you want. This guy will adapt to it and put in some impressive numbers, no doubt about it. He's flashy. He's got good speed downfield. He's able to, like you said, he's got that home run ability. Get those big plays. That's your guy right there. He's got that speed as well. Like I said, he comes in at 5'8", 218. Everyone says, oh, he might be a little small. Look, I think that comparison might be long out the window. We've seen a lot of smaller running backs in the league dominate, and this guy has the opportunity, Vince, to be one of the best if everything goes according to plan and if he's able to dominate like he did in college. I think overall, man, Blake Corum, a tremendous player. Obviously, we know he had that knee injury in 2022, but he came back strong as can be in 2023. If you give him the ball, expect some good yards, expect some touchdowns, and I think that Blake Corum is one of the best runners in this draft class. Your thoughts on the young man coming out of Michigan?
when you're talking about a complete All-American football player, this guy is a role model or the perfect college football player. I think honestly, pound for pound, he's going to be the best running back in the draft. That's not going to say he's going to be drafted as the first running back, but pound for pound, to me, he's the best back in the draft. You talk about his career stats, Logan, and think about this: over 3,700 yards, 58 touchdowns. But this is the big, most important stat I love. He averaged almost 5.5 yards a carry in his career in Michigan, in the Big Ten that loves to run the football. Then I think about all the great running backs that's played in Michigan, from Butch Woolfolk to Tyrone Whitley to Anthony Thomas to Jamie Morris. I would say if you want to compare careers, Blake Corum might be the best out of all of them, simply because what he's did in his career, as I just mentioned, his production level. Then think about his running back when you talk about his skill set. He's an outstanding receiver out of the backfield. His vision is undeniable as a running back. Footwork excellent at another level. His football IQ, recognizing the holes to go through, A+. He's very patient as a running back, A+. And he runs between the tackles. See, that's what I judge a running back on when you go into the next level. Can you run between the tackles? Man, Mr. Blake Corum can do that at a high level. Then he's very strong to be 5'8". What you say, Logan? 200, what, 210, 200?
Yes, he's coming in at 213.
213. The guy can bench press 225 30 times. So that might be about a 400, 450 bench. But what I love about him the most, I remember when he got hurt in 2022, couldn't play in the college football semifinal, how he was cheering on Donovan Edwards, who he shared carries with. Then that summer, leading up to their national championship season, I saw him on an interview with Bustin' the Boys, a podcast with Will Compton, former NFL linebacker with the Washington Commandos, and Tyler Lewan, who's the offensive tackle with the Michigan Wolverines, who went on and had an outstanding career with the Tennessee Titans. And Mr. Lewan asked him a question. He said, man, you could have came out after the 2022 season, been one of the top, maybe the first back off the board. And I remember what the young man said. He said, you know what? Hey, man, I'm going to finish what I came here to do, to win a national championship under Coach Harbaugh. I can wait on the draft. The money can wait. So, hey, man, I got to stay with my brothers. And the running back position is the most critical position that you're getting hit every play. And I said, you know what? I said, this gentleman right here, he's got to be loved by his teammates. And he's all about team. Listen to his interviews. And then when you think about all the great running backs that can run hard between the tackles, Logan, he's got some of Leroy Kelly in him. Morgan State, Cleveland Browns. He got some of Mike Garrett back in the day with the Kansas City Chiefs, USC. He got a little bit of Archie Griffin. I don't have to mention no more about Archie Griffin, a two-time Heisman Trophy winner in the Big Ten. Don McCauley, who's an outstanding running back at North Carolina. And, of course, he got some of that love, that sweetness out of Columbia, Mississippi, the great Walter Payton. And if you want to say Blake Corum is compared to somebody on the next level, I call him a baby too, Christian McCaffrey. This gentleman right here, if he stays healthy, Logan, is going to be a very good football player at the next level.
Yes, he is, Vincent. I think that obviously with what we've said about him, the game film, the numbers, I mean, it all shakes out, right? It all backs it up that this guy has the ability to be something special in the National Football League. He's already been breaking records and putting in tremendous work for the University of Michigan. Probably going to go down as one of their better players in an already storied franchise and a storied college's history, just with how well he has been and how good he's been to the team and all that. But you mentioned off the field, everyone seems to love this guy. You see it in his interviews. He's a team first type of guy, which you love to see. You don't hear nothing bad about him either. He seems clean as a whistle, and I think that Blake Corum, it seems like the pieces are falling into place for this young man to do some big things in the National Football League. whoever drafts this guy, you're going to get someone who could potentially change your franchise. I think he's that good, and I can't wait to see what he's going to do at the next level. Mr. Turner, your final thoughts.
Blake Corum is a hell of a football player, man. Let me throw another name out there who used to run hard between the tackles when he was in college, Chris Gilbert, out of the University of Texas. Whoever drafts this young man, you're going to get a very productive football player if he stays healthy. I love him.
Yes, sir.
Very good football player, pound for pound, the best running back going into the 2024 NFL draft.
Yes, sir. Well said, Mr. Turner. And we want to hear the comments from y'all on Facebook and YouTube, of course, where we go live each and every single week. And also check us out on the Believe Podcast Network. If you're a fan of podcasts, you got audio versions of all of our shows. For Mr. Football, Vincent Turner, I've been your host, producer, Logan Landers. Until next time, everyone, we'll talk to you again on